Hey everyone. So this week, one of the important things that we went over as a class was the calendar for the rest of class. So this is an updated list of all the important dates coming up. So what we did is over the course of 2 sessions, the first session I went over this document and I spoke to everyone about what this means, about what's coming in the coming weeks. And then on Wednesday, after I had gotten more information about how the reading and writing tests are going to actually be carried out, I explained that. So I'm going to combine both of those and talk about that right now. So the first thing that you see here is that the reading assessment day is May 21st. We still have May 25th as the holiday, and then June 1st is our writing assessment, and then June 2nd is our last day of classes. The next thing that is important for you guys to know is to pay attention to advisement. So June 9th, you should make sure that you've already been advised and are registered for fall 2020. So make sure that you are keeping an eye on your emails, make sure that you are in touch with your advisor, both your CUNY START advisor and advisors on the main campus that have most likely emailed you. June 10th is our test day. So usually what that means is we would call everybody to meet and we would discuss with you one-on-one your scores and what that means about your next steps in moving forward. So we will both still be doing both of those things. We will meet individually on obviously Zoom or Blackboard, and we'll talk about your scores and what that means for your next steps. This next part is a schedule for Phase 2. So if you, for whatever reason, did not pass Phase 1, you will most likely be invited back for Phase 2. So as you can see, that is essentially one more month of class. It's more focused. There's a high success rate in Phase 2. So if you didn't pass the first time around, then it's not a huge deal. Okay. So a little bit of a discussion as to what this means for the coming weeks. So if we're taking our reading test, our actual reading test on Thursday, May 21st, that means next week is going to be our last chance for a practice reading test. So we'll have another practice reading test next week. Also, as June 2nd is our last day of class, and on my end, it's fairly close to the day that I have to close the grade books. So what that means is that next week we're also going to be starting our final paper, where I'm going to ask you to talk about the last 3 authors that we've studied. And on Monday I'll go into much more detail on that. And so that also means that this week we finished up Sandra Cisneros, and the discussion journals are due on Sunday. So that's kind of the pacing for the rest of the semester. I'll give you more details in terms of when the final paper is going to be due. It'll probably be somewhere around May 25th, somewhere around there. But again, I'll give you more details. The next thing I want to talk about is how the testing is actually going to work. So if you remember, we'll start with the reading test. If you remember how we did the practice test with the Trevor Noah Born a Crime, I released the text itself several days before you all received the list of questions. And that's the same thing that's going to happen this time. So on Monday the 18th, I should say at midnight on Monday the 18th, so really Sunday night at midnight, I will release the story, the text that you'll be using, and so you'll have all day Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to read over and look anything up, look up vocabulary words, read it. Again, I would read it several times, make yourself familiar with it. And then on midnight, on the 21st, I'll release the list of questions, and you'll have all day on the 21st to submit your responses. So all documents will be made available on Blackboard. I will also email them to you as a sort of a backup, but expect to be accessing the documents on Blackboard in a clearly labeled folder, and then expect to be turning them in either with Google Docs or with Microsoft Word, whichever you've been using. On the 1st, for the writing assessment, it's going to work similarly, except that you're not going to get extra time to look at the document simply because the article is going to be a page or less. So again, at midnight on the 1st, I'll release the CAT-W, and then you'll have all day to submit that. So a couple details regarding that. Typically for a writing assessment, we would be all together in one room, and you would get 90 minutes, unless you have extra time. So you would get 90 minutes to complete the CAT-W. This time, because of the situation we're in, and because everyone's schedule has been flipped on its head and everyone has different responsibilities, we're allowing that 24-hour window. So take your time with the exam. Check it over. Don't rip your hair out and drive yourself crazy. Don't write 10 pages. But take your time with it. Really, when there's an adverse set of circumstances like this, some things are a bit of a blessing. So this is one of those things that's a bit of a blessing. You're able to do the exam on your own. You're able to take your time with it. So do take advantage of that, please. Those are really the highlights of the schedule coming up. On the last day of class, I would like to have some sort of a celebration that we've all gone this far together, so I'll be talking about that in the coming weeks too.